Hey everyone, welcome back to Journalist Talk. And today I have a super nice guest here. She's Grecia Lopez. She's a digital content producer at iHeartMedia. Hey Grecia.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, I'm good. Congratulations on your podcast. This is so cool.
Thank you. This is almost 2 year project and now it's working. So thank you for being here in season 2.
Was I gonna say you inspire me? I've always wanted to start a podcast, but I feel like I've never really had the time. So the fact that you're in season two, congratulations.
Thank you. And as I do with all of my guests, I was going to ask you to give us a brief biography about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Grecia Lopez. For those of you listening, I am battling a small cold, so I normally don't sound this congested. I am a digital content producer for iHeartMedia, specifically for iHeart Latino out of the Miami offices. I am a seasoned alumni, Go Matadors, class of 2017, where I majored in broadcast journalism and I minored in Spanish language journalism slash Chicano studies. And I'm from LA, Mexicana, born and raised in Los Angeles, Mexican American descent. I identify as Chicana because I did grow up in like the Chicana heritage in LA, South LA, Compton area, but Miami is home for now.
Yay, thank you. And it's also Hispanic Latino Heritage Month, so yay for
It
us.
is, yeah, it is. And today is La Independencia de Mexico, so viva Mexico.
Yay, let's go. Why did you choose journalism? Why did you want to become a journalist?
So I think I always knew that I wanted to be in the media industry ever since I was in high school. Like in high school, I was class president. I did the morning announcements. I was on the dance team. I did the pep rallies. I gave a speech at graduation. I coordinated like all the dances, the prom. Like so, I knew that I had like a creative brain per se, right? So I was always like, okay, I feel like I wanted to go into like media, maybe event coordination, public relations, something. And it wasn't until my high school counselor was like, you should look into public speaking. Like every time you speak, people listen. You're an eloquent speaker. Like you should look into that. And I was like, okay, sure. And so then I applied to Cal State's, and I got into Cal State East Bay and Cal State Northridge, and I believe I got into Cal State Long Beach as well. And I ended up going with CSUN, and I am so happy that I did because the CSUN Journalism Department is a really good program, and CSUN is the closest Cal State. Well, actually, not the closest Cal State because we also have Cal State Dominguez Hills and Cal State LA, but what I meant to say, it's in close proximity of all the studios and the big internship studios within Los Angeles, right? So I feel like my choice in going to Cal State Northridge played a huge part into me getting into the journalism world. So I wanted to be a on-air breaking news reporter. So that's what I aspired to be when I started at CSUN. But then once I was at CSUN and I started taking internships, I kind of geared more into entertainment journalism. And here I am, 5 years later, 3 networks later, and I ended up in radio.
I love that you answered my next question that was going to be why entertainment? But what changed it in you? You took those internships. What was the difference that made you want to pursue entertainment?
Honestly, that's a great question. And what I tell people all the time is that internships really do play a key role into developing what you want to do with your career, right? It's like I said, I wanted to be like a breaking news reporter. I wanted to be out in the fires and the homicides and the head-on collisions, like giving, the breaking news, the daily news. And once I had my first internship with Telemundo 52, I was their morning show intern. I quickly realized like I do want to be in this world, but I don't know if hard news is for me. And so then, thankfully, within the NBCU intern program, once you're in the NBC Universal program, you can network like crazy. I mean, NBC Universal has so many networks under their umbrella. So I was able to network with other interns within the embassy program that were at A&E or Embassy Universal Pictures or E News, which is how I got my into E News. I got really close to one of the E News production interns, and then I met her boss, and her name is Ava Pavone, and I love Ava to death. She became a really, really great mentor. And so when my internship ended with Telemundo 52, I then asked Ava, like, hey, if you're looking for an intern for the next semester, like, I'm more than ready. And thanks to Ava for hiring me, not one semester, but 2 semesters. They extended my internship, and then they offered me a full-time job at E News before I graduated season.
Wow, that is amazing. I was even gonna ask you, because I saw in your LinkedIn my my main place to research my guests, and they have been around a lot of places and you work even at Entertainment Tonight. How was your experience there?
Yeah, I ended up at Entertainment Tonight for about a year and a half, almost two, because I was at E News for almost 2 years, and back when E News was a show, right? Because E News, the show, doesn't exist anymore, and it's crazy that I have the honor to say I used to work at E News. With like the entertainment journalists like Juliana Rancic and Ryan Seacrest and Jason Kennedy and Maria Menounos and Ken Baker. I mean, back when like E News was at like its prime era, and then now E News doesn't exist anymore, which is crazy to think. Um, the E News team is a really small team, so it was such a painful decision to put my 2 weeks at E News because it's everyone's dream network, right? When you want to work in entertainment. But I had to choose myself because there was just like no more room for growth because the team was so small. Um, and so, once you're in, it's like people are settled, people like their careers, and the team was so small. There was just like honestly, there was just no next step after my production assistant role. Very, very limited time positions to grow, which was fine. It's okay. And so then I applied to an associate producer role for Entertainment Tonight, and then that's where I got hired. And Entertainment Tonight is when I really started to focus in more of like the Latin entertainment sphere. Thankfully, it was a great time, honestly. I feel like my time at Entertainment Tonight really helped me a lot personally, kind of hone in on what kind of entertainment journalism I want to focus on. And so I started off doing the same coverage that I did at E News, which was like helping with like red carpets and movies and award shows and premieres and Emmys and this and that. However, then one of my other mentors now that I'm super close with, her name is Elisa Oseguera, great producer, mentor, just overall badass Latina. She helped launch Entertainment Tonight Mas, which is their Latin vertical coverage of Latin entertainment for ET. And this launched in like late 2018, and this was like huge because for a big Anglo medium like Entertainment Tonight to start honing in on Latin coverage, like that was huge, and it was just kind of like there was this one day where it kind of had like a pivotal wow moment where it's like, wow, I used to listen to Juanes growing up, 2002, 2003, listening to his Mi Sangre album, and now I have the opportunity to sit here during an interview for a big Anglo network, which is a big deal. And for those who don't know what I mean, it's like, of course you're going to see Juanes on Telemundo, of course you're going to see Juanes on Univision, but to see Juanes on Entertainment Tonight, like that's big. So it's like a win-win for not just myself, but just for Latino and the culture in general. So during my time at ET, I really honed in on Latin coverage, and they sent me everywhere, and it was honestly a really, really good year. They sent me to Latin Grammys, Latin Billboards, Coachella to cover Bad Bunny, to cover J Balvin, to cover Rosalia. Like I was getting to cover a lot of the big name artists, and I was still a very young journalist, learning how the game is. And then unfortunately, as the media world does, there was layoffs when media networks merged. Our industry is known for layoffs all the time, and I tell this to students all the time, like you have to just be prepared for a layoff. And I know it sucks because it's like, well, how do you prepare for a layoff? It's like you just have to be ready. And what I mean by you have to be prepared is just like mentally prepare yourself. Like, okay, at any given moment, the budget can get cut and your project can end, and you just have to network your way to your next project, which is not for everyone. It's a battle. Um, and yeah, so then in 2019, I believe, Viacom merged with CBS. One of those mergers, I'm blanking on the other network that merged, but they laid off about 30 something percent of employees across, and I was in those 30%. It was like a big cut from my team and teams across the merger. So that's why my time at Entertainment Tonight ended, and I was so sad. But como dicen, cuando Dios quita, multiplica, and I got offered the role of a literally life-changing when I was hired with Telemundo, and I moved to Miami.
Yeah, and how was moving to a different place? You said you were here from LA. I don't really know about moving around, but how was that for you? You were in the still kind of beginning of your career and then move across the country and come work for us. How was that?
I was not, I definitely tell people, I'm like, it was the most seamless move. Like, when I tell you that my stars aligned, like, my stars aligned. I had always wanted to come to Miami. Ever since I was a sophomore in college, I specifically remember telling one of my mentors when I was, because at CSUN, I was a part of the associate student body. And I remember I had, like, one of my mentors, Austin Yasis, I had told him, I was like, I'm going to end up in Miami. Like, I don't know how, but, like, I'm going to end up in Miami. I don't know a single soul in Miami, but I do know that I want to be in Miami because that's where the networks are for Latin news. So we have Univision, we have Telemundo, we have I Heard Latino. We have all the labels. The labels are here. Universal Music Latino, Sony Music Latin. It's like I just knew that I was going to end up in Miami. So when the opportunity came, of course I took it. I was like, I'm going. I will be there. I had a whole life in LA, all my family, my grandma, my siblings. But I was ready. I was ready because it's like, if not now, when? When am I going to get another opportunity to grow, to continue growing, and to spread my wings? So I took it.
Yeah, and that's amazing that you did. You're doing a great job out there. You talk a lot about the Latino part of journalism in your life, and that was something that you always knew that you wanted to work with when you changed. Like, I want to do entertainment and not breaking news. I want to do entertainment, but like focused on Latino entertainment, or it was just like it happened, it's in your heritage, you like it, or you're pursuing that?
It honestly just came about, like I said, I was covering regular entertainment. I was covering, like the Emmy Awards, the Super Bowl, whatever show was coming out on Netflix, red carpet events, the Oscars, and then I saw just there was just like a missing piece of me where it's like I was fulfilled because I was doing entertainment journalism, but I also wanted to help to use my voice and use my voice for Latinos in the industry as well. And so when I took the job for Telemundo, it was for an English-based show that Telemundo was producing, which was the first of its kind. Because when you think Telemundo, you think Spanish, you think abuela, you think tías, you think telenovelas. But the show that I was producing for was Telemundo's first English-based show, which was called For the Cultura. It was produced by millennials, for millennials, and Gen Zers, and it's like, oh man, it was the best show that I worked for. And our key audience were like the 200 percenters, which are, it's like you're 100% Latino, but you're also 100% American. Like, we identify with you, you identify with us. And it was so fun. And it really helped me still, give like that Anglo-English feel vibe, but with a Latin twist. And it lived for about a year, and then the pandemic hit. And just how everybody else in the industry, I feel, got the layoff wave, and it was my second layoff. And I was like, wow, not again. Like, this is crazy. And so after that, I was like, okay, I moved to Miami for Telemundo. I moved to Miami for this specific project. Now this project is done. Oh my gosh, what is next? And I don't think I've ever publicly shared this, but I was going through it. Like, I was depressed. I was trying to figure out what my next move was. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do? I already worked at E News. I already worked at ET. Obviously, they're not hiring again because everything's at a standstill with the pandemic happening. Same with NBC. I was applying like crazy, but I mean, the uncertainty of the pandemic, it's like I feel like everybody was just kind of like at a standstill with their lives, you know. And so, thankfully, I got a good severance package, so I wasn't stressing for monetary purposes. I was just stressing because I was like, I feel like with social media, you're kind of like, so and so's doing this and so and so's doing that. Well, what am I doing? Like, what's my next project? What's my next thing? And looking back, I feel like I should have taken those 4 months of me not working to myself, and I did. I did take a lot of like self time, and something personally happened to me during that time too. So I feel like it all happened for a reason, because what happened to me personally really hit me bad. That I was like, I don't think I would have been able to function at work if I was working full time. So I feel like it all happened at the same time for me to not be working, yet still getting a paycheck because of the different severance package, but having the time to myself and to heal.
Yes.
And then I was gonna move back to LA, but then an opportunity came about with iHeartRadio, and I got hired to be a digital content producer for iHeart Latino, and it's been so fun. I tell people, like, I have never laughed this much going to work every morning. I mean, radio is a different ballgame. It's the same. It's the same, but it's not the same as TV. Um, I'm still learning a lot. I learn a lot every day, but so far, so good.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with my next question for you, which is you're doing television, you're doing reporting, maybe anchoring this last project that you were talking about, the for the Cultura.
Yeah, so for the Cultura, I was the lead content producer. We had our two main hosts, and I was still doing some interviews because with ET, I was doing a lot of interviews. I was one of the three Spanish speaking people on the team of like 50, which is crazy. But, sometimes people feel tokenized when you're one of the few that speak Spanish. And not to say that I felt tokenized, but it was kind of like, damn, we really do need more Latinos, more Spanish speaking people in Anglo newsrooms, and I was always just one of the Spanish speaking people. But it worked to my advantage because then I was able to do everything that I did, right? So it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so when I got to Telemundo, I took a lead role, and I was managing a team of 5. So I was a lead content producer, managing our editorial meetings, producing the rundown, helping with booking. I oversaw a team of 2 associate producers, a production assistant, and a co-producer. And so I got a lot more into like producing. I still did interviews on that show. And then now at iHeart, I kind of dabbled more into like the digital world and social media. So I feel like that was like a past life of me doing on-camera work and whatnot. I haven't done that in a while. Who's to say, never say never. I feel like if I really do want to pick that side of me back up, I can. But honestly, I feel like right now, 5 years into this career, I'm still deciding if I want to stay behind the scenes, stay producing, stay doing social media, or if one day I want to pick back up the camera in front of the camera and be like, what's up, guys? I'm back on camera.
I get it because I think that's the most controversial thing in a journalist's mind. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to do radio, I'm going to do producing, I'm going to do TV, print. And when I first started journalism, I really thought that I was going to go more into print journalism. And then I took some TV classes and I was like, TV, that's it. I love it. And then for the past year, I've been having more experience with podcasting and radio. And I'm like, okay, so out of the 3, I think that I like way better radio, podcasting, audio features, hence my podcast right here. And so I think that's something that we can change all the time. It's not something that we have to follow, like you're a reporter, you are going to be like a TV reporter the rest of your life. I feel like we have more of a freedom nowadays.
Yeah, and that's what I tell people all the time too. I'm like, when I start, it's crazy. It's like literally when I was in college, the first 2 years of my journalism classes were like very traditional, right? Like anchor, news, be professional, follow the script, XYZ. And then that's when the digital world started, right? That's when Snapchat came out. That's when IG stories came out. That's when like the digital journalism era started to occur. It was like 2013, 2014. Twitter. I remember there was like Periscope. It's like everybody, even and it was also like really cool for me to see that transformation within the newsroom because people weren't going live on Instagram yet. People weren't going live on Twitter yet. You know, everything was new. Like this digital life features were so new. So I feel like towards the end of my college career, I was kind of like, yo, like digital is where it's at and streaming is where it's at. And look at where we are now. People get careers and get booked on gigs versus on like their followers and how they do IG lives and how many followers they have on TikTok. So it's like, I tell people now, it's like, you have the freedom to be a content creator and create any type of content that you want. I have quite a few following on TikTok, and not because I talk about entertainment, but I talk about infertility. So I feel like I connected with like infertility TikTok, you know. So it's like I have that voice too that I don't really share on Instagram. So if you follow me on TikTok, then you know what I'm talking about. But it's kind of like you just have the opportunity to create any type of content that you want and focus on any niche really. Once you find your niche, and you have to know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And have you had like in college or even right now or all those years that you've been changing jobs, have you had any personal project ideas or any project that went further?
What do you mean? Like show projects? Like
I mean, I have my podcast. It's a personal project. It's not like work
oh,
related. It's not like school related. It's something that I wanted to do and I did, you know?
I love that. I so when I got laid off, I was kind of like, what do I want to do? I want to have a passion project. So what I did is I designed some journals. I designed like gratitude journals because when I tell you that I was really going through it when my show at Telemundo ended and then something personal happened, I'll say it. I ended my relationship with somebody that I was with for 7 years, somebody that I thought was going to be my husband. Like we were together for a very long time. And we decided to go our separate ways, and it was really hard for me. And so I decided to design a gratitude journal because it was just kind of like I need a place or like something to let out what I'm feeling, and I wasn't really like finding the correct outlet. And so I designed these gratitude journals, and I designed them for myself, but it was just like, you know what? I'm gonna put this on Amazon. You never know. I'm gonna share them on social media because you never know who can relate to it or who can, like who will. What's the word I'm looking for? Like just yeah, who's the word? Who can relate to it or who will also want a gratitude journal? And it was crazy because I sold like 100 of them. It was wild. I didn't really expect for people to resonate with them so much. And that's one thing that I am proud of, that the pandemic gave me the opportunity to publish a few ebooks, which is great. So I have those passion projects. And now that I started focusing more on social media, I started taking like my own social media clients. So I work with 3 people additionally on my own outside of iHeartRadio, and it's been going well. And that's something that I haven't really like talked about on Instagram. Like, hi, I also I'm starting to manage social media because I'm still figuring out the kinks, because I feel like social media changes every single day. It's like, oh my gosh, no one's ever gonna be like the social media expert because the features are always changing.
Yeah, but I'm really glad that at least in a dark time you found something that made you feel better and that helped a lot of other people as well. We never know when our problems, it's like the same problems as others and how we all can relate and help each other. Mainly in this road that we spent like almost 2 years locked up at home. Some people alone, some people went back to their families. It was a tough time, and I'm really glad that you felt comfortable in sharing like all these things here in the podcast with me. But I feel that your initiative was really fun, really nice, and helped a lot of other people.
Yeah, honestly, it was kind of those things where it's like I have a platform, I have a voice. I know I'm not the only one that has gone through a really bad breakup. And so after out of that breakup, then those journals came about, and yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, I don't know if you know her, Nas Perez, but she has her own group about broken heart people.
Yeah.
It's something. It helps people. People get stuck sometimes in their breakups, or like it's something way deeper. But having people to share it, it's great.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I wanted to go to one of them, and I was always like right behind them, but I don't know. Heartache is such a hard topic to talk about because it's like you don't want people's pityness or sympathy because it's like obviously there's absolutely nothing that they can do. It was just more so like I want to mourn this relationship by myself as best as I can.
Yeah. But any other projects that you see yourself doing in the future, or projects that you wanna take role someday?
I don't know. I think right now, honestly, I think right now I'm at a good space. I would love to start a podcast one day. I just have to figure out the time. I just have to figure out the time and get like down to the nitty gritty. But more so, I love producing. I love the atmosphere of it. But it's a very good question. I'm gonna definitely think about that because it's also kind of like okay, everything's good right now, but what do I want to do now?
Yeah, and we have time to figure it out. You're still very young, and you have your whole professional life to figure it out. Something that you want to do, something that you're passionate about. Yesterday, I was recording another episode, and like the passion for what we like and what we want to do was like a very intense topic into the conversation. And so, if you feel that something is right for you, like moving across the country, me moving across Americas, if it feels right, we should do it, you know?
100%. I do have like a passion project that I work with an infertility organization called Beautiful You MRKH. So I do dabble in the infertility world a little bit, and I'm going to be on their conference next March, talking about infertility and how that affects us as women and how it affects me as a Latina woman, where it's like, you have your family and your grandparents, or like, cuando nos vas a dar bisnietos y cuando te vas a casar, and it's like, well, I can't get pregnant, I'm infertile, so you're just gonna have to stop asking me that question. So that's one thing that I have coming up in March, which is another thing that I haven't really posted publicly about. And it's not that I'm ashamed that I'm infertile, it's just more so that's a different niche. I feel like I keep my Instagram more like entertainment, more beauty, more fashion. And then if you go to my TikTok and you see infertility.
I'm really happy for you that you're going to participate on that in March. And I really wish that everything goes well on it. And also, just to finalize here our conversation, what would be an advice that you'd give to people coming out of college right now with their big dreams in journalism?
My advice would be to always follow your gut instinct and never doubt your own confidence. When you walk into a room, own the room, take up the space, you were meant to be there. Your stars are aligning and you're in that room for a reason, and make sure that your voice is heard.
Amazing words. Thank you. And thank you so much, Gracia, for coming here today and talking to me. And for everybody here listening, I'll see you guys in the next podcast.